Hello and welcome back once again. Here we are today to take one last look at the legislative branch, the nuts and bolts of the first of our three branches of government. The legislative branch is created by Article 1 of the Constitution. Right after that preamble, they put in the legislative branch. Who is the legislative branch? Well, simply put, Congress. Congress is the legislative branch. Congress is broken up into two parts, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House, which is based on population, has 435 members. To find out that population, every 10 years we take a census. The people go around door to door. Sometimes you fill out a form. Sometimes they just have you check off to make sure you're still living where you say you are. But they get that people count. Every time you go into a new city, you look on that sign. It says East Troy, population 4235, or wherever we're currently at. Those of you who drive past it all the time, someone please tell us now, what's the population say? Thank you. Like I say, we're right around that 4,200 mark. The Senate is based on equal representation. Every state has two. The House of Representatives, well, that was the Virginia plan at work. The Senate, that's the New Jersey plan at work. What is the legislative branch? It's the lawmaking branch. Any idea for a new law would come from the legislative branch. The Affordable Health Care Act, that had to come through Congress. Both the House and the Senate had to approve or get enough votes to get it through. If you had a new idea for a law, say you wanted to make it illegal to throw snowballs anywhere, that's where you would start out. Or say you wanted to make a new law requiring schools to be year-round, you might be able to start there as well. But anyways, the lawmaking branch is legislative. Oftentimes when kids are struggling, we always say the legislative branch is the lawmaking branch. Remember your L's. Fa la 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 la. Where is it? It's in Capitol Hill. It's in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, rather. You can see right there in the picture, there's two different steps up to go into the House and to the Senate. Both have chambers. Obviously, the House's chamber is a little bit larger. Again, Capitol Hill. When? Well, the House of Representatives, as we talked about before, is every 2 years. Every 2 years, or all 435 members will have to be removed or voted back in. The Senate is every 6 years. And every 2 years out of those six, they roll out 1/3 of the Senate. Again, the House of Representatives being the lower house, every 2 years, they're supposed to be out amongst the people a little bit more often. The Senate every 6 years, the upper house, they're a little harder to get a hold of. But once again, the census is taken every 10 years. Why do we have the legislative branch? We have it to create laws, first and foremost, but also it limits the powers of the president. They can override a presidential veto if they think they've passed a law that's good. They can impeach the president if they feel that he's overstepped his powers. But either way, they work with and against the President of the United States of America to make sure nobody gets too strong. That's checks and balances, folks. Well, here we have a handy-dandy T-chart. We're going to take a look at the House of Representatives and the Senate. Let's compare those two. On your notes, you have that T-chart right in front of you. Let's see some things they have a little bit different. First off, the House, as we already know, is based on population. The Senate, on equal representation. We're hitting you over the head with that one as much as we can. In the House of Representatives, Wisconsin has 8 representatives. The Senate, every state has 2 of those. The House of Representatives, 435 total members. The Senate, 100 total members. For those math whizzes out there, that's a total of 535 members in Congress. In order to become a representative, you have to be 25 years old. In order to become a senator, 30 years old. Now remember, life expectancy was a lot shorter then. That was almost middle-aged. They were going through their midlife crisis at that time. Now it's a rather young age to become a representative or a senator. You know, look at that Senate, 30 years old. Mr. Sulik is just about ready to get his campaigning gear and run to become senator. Only a year away, he can become a senator. House of Representatives, every 2 years they're elected. Senators, every 6 years. Much like we did the elds for legislative. If you're ever stuck between 2 and 6 years, remember, senator serves 6. And thankfully, I don't list too much, but the senator serves 6. Paul Ryan is East Troy's representative. He's from Janesville, Wisconsin. We are in District 1 in the state of Wisconsin. He represents us, fresh off his run for vice president, as Mr. Sulik said the other day. Uh, Ron Johnson and Tammy Baldwin, those are our 2 senators. Ron from the Appleton area and Tammy from the Madison area. Now, here's where it gets a little trickier. We haven't talked much about this yet. The House of Representatives is led by the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House is chosen by the party, Democrats or Republicans, that has the most people in the House of Representatives. Currently, the Republicans do. The man who is the Speaker of the House, his name is John Boehner. And he, being a Republican, he is the top Republican right now in government. You oftentimes in news see where he and President Obama are clashing with each other. They also spend a lot of time together on the golf course. So it's not as contentious as you might think. And the Senate, they are led by the Vice President. The Vice President has no real power in the Senate other than if they vote and it's tied 50-50, he gets to vote. It's a great place if you're Vice President to catch a nap because you can't do anything until the end of the day. The number one job of Congress, of course, is to make laws, but they do many other things as well. What are some of the services that government spends money on? Take a second. We'll just stop the video and think of some of the things that you know that the government spends money on. Congress raises the money to pay for all these things by taxing the citizens. The exact thing we didn't like about England, we're doing to ourselves. But we need to get the money from someplace, and everyone should chip in. Think about your life. What do you pay taxes on? Again, let's take a minute, stop the video, and have a discussion. Money taken from your paycheck is called income tax. That started with one of the amendments that we'll be talking about, in the next month or so. But that tax goes directly to the government to help pay for goods. Every year, Congress and the President both have to bring forward a plan on how to spend money. This plan is called a budget. Think about your daily life at home, your allowance. What things do you budget for? What things do your families budget for? Once again, stop the video here and have a quick discussion. What are some of the things you budget for in your family? One of the goals of the government is to have something called a balanced budget. That means the money coming in will equal the money going out. It means you're not spending too much money. You only spend what you have. It's a very great goal to have, but one we can't seem to do. We are trillions, if not more, dollars in debt. I just answered that. We do not have a balanced budget. But the big question is, we'll stop again, why don't we have a balanced budget? What things are we spending on? And what things do you think we could trim from our budgets? Again, stop the video, have a quick discussion on why we don't have a balanced budget. And last, the money our government owes is called our national debt. National debt, that's a rather big word. You'll probably see it on the quiz tomorrow. National debt is what our government owes. We're deep. Most of you are aware, but I'll ask anyways, what country do we owe most of our money to? If you guess China, you are all right. What does Congress do with the money they get? Plain and simple, they build roads, they build post offices, parks, pay the military. Can you think of other things we spend our money on in our country? Again, take a quick second, stop the video. See if you can come up with anything else. Somebody was having fun with PowerPoint. Other powers, they can determine weights and measures. Way back in the olden days when I was a kid, back in the 1970s, we were told constantly we needed to learn the metric system because the whole world is changing. Math and science was all about the metrics. Centimeters, milliliters, meters, kilograms. It's amazing. Never really went through. But if it did, Congress would decide it. They can make more money. All they have to do is go to a mint and print the coins. They give patents to protect inventors' ideas. Have an idea for an invention? You can own that if you go get a patent on it. We'll be talking about that in class real soon. Think about some of the inventions that maybe you've made. I always say that my father-in-law, he invented this cool thing on the end of his leaf blower. He put it up, ran the tube over, and cleaned his gutters out. 2 years later, there it was on the QVC channel. Someone trying to sell it, making money. Had he gotten a patent, it had been his. We'll tell the story of the little boy and his cane. A young boy, his mother had a disability, couldn't walk. And in the wintertime down in Chicago, she couldn't go very far. So he, during a competition, a young inventors competition, he took the cane, hollowed it out, and put a handle on top with a button. Every time you push the button down, little spikes would come out the bottom of the cane that would grip into the ice. He won a free patent. Johnson & Johnson, a medical company, they bought it from him for millions of dollars, fixed his mom's leg. She doesn't need the cane anymore. Fantastic story. But again, if you have an idea, you go get a patent. Copyrights, they give those to authors so to protect the written word. Someday you'll write that great novel, you get your copyright. No one can copy it. You guys are pretty good at plagiarizing these days. Only Congress can declare war. The president cannot. Congress gets to decide when we go to war. Uh, Back after 9/11, President Bush declared war on terrorism. He did not declare war on Iraq. He did not declare war on any other place in the Middle East. He declared a war on terrorism. And then he sent troops out, which is one of his powers. He can deploy troops, but only Congress can declare war. Well, folks, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I know there's no music going along with it today, and no song and dance and no jokes. But if you filled in your notes, we're ready to move on to the next level. Tomorrow is a quiz. Hopefully you will be ready. Have a great rest of your afternoon.